Trevor Walley, can you please tell us how long you've lived in this area and a little bit about this area?
Well, I lived all my life in this area. All these bushes, the trees, the banksias, the birds are very familiar to me. When we lived here, we got our water from a well, so we lived near a swamp, and so we'd go down to the swamp and dig a well, and we'd carry the water up in a bucket, and we use that for our washing, our water, and everything like that. And so our water came from a well from this area. So this area is very familiar to me. We used to walk to the school. The school was down the road here, and we'd walk back. Even if we had a stone bruise, we'd still walk to school and back, because school was very important to us. But so growing up here, we would do the washing down the river here. So this river here and water, we would wash our clothes, drink the water. We used to make rafts, so we used to make paperbark rafts and tin canoes, and we'd be in the swamp, swimming in a swamp and rafting and climbing over the trees and making our beds up in the trees, all the reeds and that. So this area is very important to Aboriginal people, the Noongar people. So the flowers that grow in this area, the star flowers, the girls would put them in their hair, and so as they walked, the star flowers would shine and glitter just like the stars at night. So this area is very important to myself, because and a lot of other Noongar families that lived and worked around this area. This is the bulgur bush, and many different uses. The flower in here, yeah, it's got nectar to it, so you can get a nice sugar nectar from it. You steep it in water, and after a while it'll ferment, and you'd make a nice cordial drink from it. These here is good for holding up things, so good for frames for mai-mais, spears, so so when you throw at a fish, it'll float. You can actually use this for your fire. It's very important for fire, yeah, because in the dream time we didn't have fire, and we got it from the moon. So the moon had a bit of fire, and so we got the birds to fly up. The quorra, the lorikeet, grabbed it, put it under his wing, came down and gave it to us. The ocean got upset because we had fire, and so the water came up from the ocean and started to put the fire out, and we hid it in here. So when you rub the two sticks together, you can get the fire to come out. So many different uses for the stem of the bulgur bush.
And the tree behind you, can you tell us what that is and a little bit about that?
This is a banksia. It's a banksia tenuata. We use this to carry the fire. So in here, just an example, when we travel from camp to camp, we would put this in our campfire, the kala, and so it'll slowly burn. So we can carry the fire, keep us nice and warm, and when we want to light a fire, we just use that to light our fire. So we carry the fire in the banksia. In here, there's little gum. So this is our bubble gum. So in here is a little bit of bubble gum, so you can eat it and chew it. So we've got that for our bubble gum. The marri tree there, we use the gum for that for medicine. So on the bark there, on the gum, the resin, we waterproof our kangaroo skin, so we can use it to carry water. If we get a tummy ache, we drink it with water. And if we cut ourselves, we get the gum and we rub it up there and heal it. So it's good for toothache, sore throats, tummy aches. So it's that marri tree. It's a medicine.
Can you just tell me a little bit about the families that used to live here? What are some of the family names and where did they live?
All Noongars lived everywhere. Families just weren't particular, because everyone used to move around. They used to move around in their seasons. We have 6 seasons: Birak, Bornu, Duran, Makaru, Julba, Camberang, Birak. So every Noongar person would have lived in here, lived in the bush. Every Noongar would have moved around the whole state. hunting and gathering and dancing and singing, corroborating and storytelling. So not one particular family would have owned this little spot, because we all own it. We're all keepers of the story. But in my eyes, we camped here. The Walley family, the Karnup family, and we married into all the families. So all the families lived here. So we lived here, and we lived here. So you basically, when we was growing up, you had to work, and you had to go to school, and so we worked in a lot of the dairying. So this was a very a dairy place, industry, farming, fencing, because Noongars were always the labourers, if you like. So where there was work, you'll find the Noongar people. So we found work here, fencing and gardening and you know, hay carting and shearing and stuff like that, and dairying. Dairying was the most important part here. So it's all Noongar families that lived in this bush. These trees got Noongar names, all the birds got Noongar names. Our stories, our dreams, all is about Noongar people, and so it's all Noongar people that lived in this area.
Can you tell us some of your Dreamtime stories?
Yes, it's because we lived in here. We were the little ones, little babies. Mum had 7 of us in the bush here, and in our stories we had to come back before it gets too dark, because the little people would come around, and obviously the Jenagubbies and all those things were around the bush. They were real, and so we used to get home and get in the camps before those spirit people would be coming around. We did have a spirit woman that used to look after us. She used to cry in the bush, and the elders would run out, and when they came back, she used to put our babies, and we used to be in different areas, so not in the cot but on the floor, and so she used to cuddle the babies. And so we had this special woman that was a spirit that looked after the babies, and I do remember her crying 3 times. She would cry 3 times in 3 different areas, because she used to cry for us babies. One particular time, we used to, walking along at night, we used to go around her, so I used to see her in the bush standing not far from here. So just down there, the spirit woman used to be standing, and we used to go around her. And a lot of their families, my uncles and my mum, my aunties, they would tell you about this woman who used to cry for babies. So she used to look after babies, and when the woman, when my mum used to look after us kids, when Dad was in hospital, she had to sit by a veranda, and she used to make sure that we're always safe and comfortable. But this also was an area where spirit travellers, so when the Noongars used to walk along at night time, they used to try and grab us, but they couldn't, because this woman used to look after us. So it's very important in our culture to acknowledge the little Woodarchies, the Mummeries, the Bolyats, the Jenagubbies, and the spirit woman that used to look after all the babies in this area. So it's very important to me spiritually, because I know all these stories. The bush, it talks to us, the bush, the birds talk to us. When someone's coming, the butcher bird will call, and we'd say, hello, someone's coming, when the butcher bird would call. So a lot of the birds would tell us things, would give us messages. The bobtails would be looking at you, and so they were all our spirit friends, and bobtails and animals and birds and that. But we lived in the bush. We got our water from the bush, we got our fire from the bush, we got our medicine from the bush, our foods, our bush onions, which is all around here. And so this place here, Karnup, is Nganj is me, so I'm here. So in our language, Karnup, Nganj means me, up is place of, so we're sitting at place of us, so you are very important people here. So even this word Karnup means Nganj is me, so it's very important that this place recognises you. So you are ninning, you are sitting down here in this very important place.
Thank you. And so this interpretive signage that we've got around, can you tell us a little bit about the signs here at the Noongar Trail?
Yes, well, it's I think it's one of the only trail that recognises Noongar people. So the trail is called Noongar, and the people here is called the Noongar people. And I think the city of Rockingham were instrumental in naming this path here, the Noongar Trail, and it's the only trail I know of that's got the word Noongar Trail in it. So it's very important, and it's very important to name it the Noongar people, which is the name of the people, the Noongar people.
And the signage, you were talking about the seasons.
Yes.
It talks about the animals on the signs.
Yes. Well, it's like I say, we live by the bush. Our law is the bush. So the seasons are tell us what we're doing, where the food is. You know, you got your Birak, Bornu, Duran, Makaru, Julba, Camberang, and they tell you where the fish is, where the food is, where the crab seasons, where the fishing, where to put the fish traps, when the possums, when the kangaroos. So the seasons tell us a lot. The Christmas tree, the muja, that tells us that the spirits are going. So when you see the orangey muja, the Christmas tree, it's a time, it's a celebration time really, because all the spirits have gone, all your ancestors. When we die, we sit on the Christmas tree, and I honestly believe that when I die, I sit on the Christmas tree, and my spirit, my wurn, then it flowers, and there's a little trigger in the Christmas tree that triggers us off. So then we go on. When we die, our spirits are not just wandering around aimlessly lost. We find a Christmas tree and we sit on the Christmas tree. So a lot of the Noongar people, they don't go and climb the Christmas tree and use muck around with the Christmas tree, because that's where our spirits go.